and welcome to the David Thompson Show, fighting tyranny one day at a time. Welcome. Well, for those of you that don't know, Donald Trump's approval rating has begun to drop. In fact, it's collapsed. Now, this is unusual, friends, because most presidents do get a honeymoon period. That's what it's called. That's usually between 3 and 6 months after his inauguration that people give that president, whoever it is, time to do whatever it is they said they would do. Then the heat starts being poured on. But in this case, 32 days in, it's pretty ugly right now. There's cracks in the administration. Now, I got an article I'm going to read right off the bat just to give you an idea of what's happening. This is from Politico. It says, warning signs for Trump in new polling. 2 new polls show the president's approval rating is slipping. Donald Trump's honeymoon may be wearing off. New polls show a majority of Americans say he has overstepped his presidential authority and hasn't done enough to address high prices. Now, let me stop there before I continue to read. Now, I've had a lot of people giving me heat for being specific on what Donald Trump is doing. Some very nasty emails and some very nasty comments. And of course, what I don't get from comments sometimes is actually analytical thinking, proving this and that using metrics and evidence. We don't get that. We just get emotion. I understand. Believe me, there's no issue. It's all good. But when you say that you won the election on the economy, that you won the election because you were going to reduce egg prices and other prices, of course, in general, and you don't, and actually don't even address them since the inauguration, that's going to bother a lot of people. You can blame everybody you want, friends. It's Joe Biden's fault. It's John F. Kennedy's fault. It's Eisenhower's fault. Maybe it was Ike's fault. Let's blame Ike. Find somebody to blame. Well, not so fast. This is definitely a Donald Trump issue. He promised something, again, that he knew he had to know. He had to know. Don't you think he had to know? I mean, I would have known. Being an economist myself, I understand that you just can't turn prices around like that. In fact, if that happens and you get deflation and prices go, say, eggs from $8 to 50 cents, you have deflation, and that is catastrophic for your economy, catastrophic for your country, catastrophic for the world. So let's be clear. That's what he said. People listened to that. Others heard other things. For instance, Latino voters, many voted for him, hoping and believing that he would not affect any of their relatives in his deportation mission. Well, guess what? It's affecting them. They're unhappy. I think it was 3 weeks ago I did a video, Buyer's Remorse. Even then, tens of thousands of people were complaining everywhere, on every internet program, TV programs, blogs, blog posts, you name it. They all were complaining that they were lied to, that they were sold a bill of goods. I knew this myself, and I try to explain it, and I was told sometimes I explain it and I maybe look a little mean. I'm sorry. I get very, very into something, and it looks mean. I'm sorry if it does. I don't mean to offend anybody. I'm going to lighten it up here a bit because I am a pretty funny person when it comes right down to it, because a lot of the stuff you can't literally make up. But back to this economy. So when you say you're going to fix the economy, the day you enter into the office and you don't, right off the bat, strike one. Then he said he was going to end a Ukraine war in 24 hours, and he didn't. You've had threats against our neighbors, which are friendly neighbors, and you went to war with them economically. You went to war with others economically who are our allies. Many people love it. Many people don't, because they're thinking, wait a minute, you said that you were going to lower prices. Well, friends, he can't lower prices. In fact, all the things he is doing, putting tariffs or threatening tariffs, will only push prices up. Remember, and again, I did a video on this a while back, that tariffs really are taxes, and they're taxes on the country bringing in the product, not the country who made the product. So if we're bringing in the product, we're going to pay the tax on that product. A lot of folks were confused over that, and I digress, I know. So My point is, all these things affect poll numbers because eventually they're going to do a poll, and these are fairly accurate polls, people. I know a lot of people disagree, but these are very accurate polls. Let me go on with this article. 2 new polls from CNN, SSRS, and the Washington Post Ipsos poll show the GOP president's approval rating underwater, 47 to 52. That's in the CNN poll, and 45 to 53 in the Post. So that's 45 that believe he's doing a good job, 53% don't. So his approval rating is definitely underwater. Now, this is a shift from polling earlier this year that found voters roughly divided on him. It was close to 50%, with some surveys even showing a positive approval rating. Now, let me go on. This is key here, my friends. One reason for the erosion of support: a slight majority of respondents in both surveys said Trump has overstepped his presidential power in his attempts to reshape the federal government, driven by tech billionaire Elon Musk. This was always a bad idea. It really was. Bringing Elon Musk in was always a bad idea. Elon Musk is not an elected official. And those 5 or 6 25-year-olds, 20-year-olds that he put into his Doge group should not be there either. These are bad ideas. Now, folks argued with me at the gym today, or yesterday at the gym, that, well, if you're going to let them happen, you have to do this. No, you don't. Like I said before, if you have a garden and there's plants and fruits and vegetables in it, and there's weeds in it, you don't burn the whole garden down. You pick the weeds out. But this torch mentality, torch it all, is what Musk is doing, and he's hurting America. They've gotten rid of air traffic controllers, park rangers, daycares that now aren't getting funded for Head Start, food programs. Literally, they were firing people from the commission that protects us in their nuclear energy division. They were firing him, and then they realized, wait a minute, do we really need this? Yeah, I mean, this is the problem that people don't realize. And I told somebody today, I believe it was my daughter, I said 1.2% of the budget is USAID. And she says, I don't want to hear what 1.2% means, 1.2% means. And she's right. People, I understand that I can throw those numbers out. But let's be honest. 1.2% is a very small percentage. 1% of a dollar is what? Well, let's look at it in the size of our federal budget. What's 1.2% of something? Not a lot, right? So when you go after that thing and then it affects people who are real, who live in this country, farmers are getting hosed. They sent and sold all this food, grain, and products to the U.S. government to ship overseas to starving people, and it hasn't left the port. The farmers have not got paid. They haven't got paid yet. Farmers are your lifeblood in this country. They're already struggling in this country. Farms going out of business, collapsing, and you won't pay the ones that are still there? This is my point. You can argue all you want about the crooks and all the overwaste and all these things. It's a small percentage. By the way, as I said yesterday, if you want to get rid of real waste, go over to the Pentagon. Probably trillions of dollars missing there by now. Trillions. And yet you're going after a tiny little program because it's more of a cultural attack. You see, that's the thing that Trump's, I think, taking heat on now. Some of these attacks on programs and situations and people are more culturally oriented. We don't like that culture, whether it's DEI or, low income or any of these things. We don't like those cultures. We want to just deal with nice rich people who have all the money. Plus, he's got this multi-trillion-dollar tax bill he's trying to get passed for millionaires. Meanwhile, I'm getting my taxes ready right now. I am. And I'm going to have to pay again. I don't make a lot of money. I'm retired. I have a job or so, and I still pay a lot of money for what I make. And yet someone making $1 trillion a year doesn't pay much of anything. That's the problem he's having. Once people, those fringe people, those ones that usually don't vote Republican, that voted Republican this year, and there was a good percentage of them, Latinos, there was a lot of people that went overboard and said, I'm going to do it. Buyer's remorse. Those people are the ones that are going to start turning. And when they do, there's going to be a reckoning here. Many of Trump's most controversial early initiatives, including a sweeping spending freeze, have been blocked in court thus far. But the new administration has still made waves with layoffs of federal workers, cuts to federal contracts, and flood of executive orders. There's a lot of waste in the federal government. But without the federal government, without the programs, without those things that keep the foundation stable, the country will begin to collapse. And sadly here, and this is what gets me, and people don't realize, once you take out all the foundation, you're going to have one guy holding it all up, one leader. It doesn't take a rocket science to figure out who that leader is, and the fact that he is the one leader and has all the power should tell you that maybe that was the plan, the chaos effect. I'm going to use that, the chaos effect. Can I coin that term? So my final commentary here is this, that this is a big problem for Donald Trump. Now, he is going to try to make himself look good through this no matter what. He'll create his own poll numbers. The issue I have here is that will he continue to take risks? Will he continue to go against the Constitution? Will he continue to try to break apart the government to gain more power? Or will he retreat? Will he start playing by the rules? We all have to have rules. There has to be rules to our government, to our world. Once you start destroying or eroding them, all hell will break loose. Only time will tell, friends. So that's all the time I have today. Hey, God bless you all. Jesus is still King. I hope you know him. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. Help us. If you know people that have not seen us, please share that video on your YouTube link or your Facebook link. And I thank you. Again, I'll see you next time right here on The David Tomsic Show. We love you new subscribers, by the way. Thank you.